Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we are after market close on Wednesday, September 22nd. We're going to take our daily look at SoFi. Now, if you're just getting into looking up SoFi videos or you're just coming back to SoFi after taking some time off, I definitely understand that. But just know that I do a SoFi video every single night after the trading day, or at least toward the end of the trading day, and that's been the case for several months. So we have a big backlog. I have a playlist that's entirely dedicated to SoFi because we've done daily analysis since well into the IPO days. So feel free to subscribe if this video is interesting to you and you'd like to get consistently updated on SoFi as far as my opinions on what's happening anyway. Now, I've had to restart this video. I won't get into why, but that means that I've deleted some of the chart that we were looking at. Luckily, I had tweeted it out earlier today. We'll look at the tweet in a minute, but to just sort of reconfirm what we were looking at yesterday, we were really wedged, no pun intended, directly in this wedge. So this uptrend that we'd been following colliding with the downtrends that we were following, and it had just concretely wedged itself top to top, bottom to bottom, and was sort of primed to have a big breakout one direction or the other based on this. It's what we talked about last night. Now you can say that this is for other factors and that the trend analysis doesn't have any impact on it, yada, 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 but I would, I guess, humbly disagree with you and say that we've been tracking this now for quite some time. And we did see the other thing that we were looking at that point was this double head fake on the MACD where it looked like it was going to bullishly cross over and then it extended, and then it looked like it was going to cross over again, and then it looked like it wanted to start extending again. And I said at that point, go back and look at last night's video, that can often lead to a really big jump in the price action, that there's just sort of all this pent up bullish aggression or activity that is set to unleash, and that we may see that in the coming days. And that is exactly what we saw at the start of today. Now, when I sent this tweet out today, what I was looking at was, I don't exactly, okay, here we go. So this is a double dipper, but we spoke about bouncing off the wedge, or out of the wedge, double fake on the MACD, having consumed all the selling pressure as we approached 1629 resistance. So that's the other thing. It had come up here around, well, at least around this area, right? 3 or 4 candlesticks here that made a pretty solid effort at trying to get to 1629 on a pretty impulsive wave up and just failed pretty concretely. And knowing that there was a lot of selling pressure at that price point, meaning approaching 1629, the speculation in last night's video was we may have exhausted all of that selling pressure, and folks might be really, really willing to come in and buy at that price and or hold and not sell. So thus having more buying pressure than selling pressure and boosting the price. And that's exactly what we saw. And at this point, this was 11 o'clock this morning. Now I'm looking for SoFi to jump over the green upward trend line here and confirm 1629 support if it dips. So we'll look at the daily in a minute. Sorry, the 1 minute, 1 day, to see if it did test the 1629. I don't think so, but I could be not accurately remembering. But we did see it finish closing above this green upward trend line, which means that it's now broken through the topping out that we saw here and here, and this could really, really be gearing up for a nice push upward. We don't know, and we've been sort of let down and faked out several times in the past, but it does look like it's throwing all of the indications that that's the case, including the volume side of things. So volume today rivaling that volume that we saw in the most active days after the lockup expired. Today, 54.9 million. If we go back to like this big volume day as the lockup expired, 55.7 million in volume, which at that point was a real anomaly. 56.3 million the day before that. But these were single digits. 3, 4, 5 million, 7 million, 2 million, and then it just got walloped 36, 56, and 55. And then today with a big green candlestick, 54.9. So that's really, really additionally impressive. We got there with a big gap up, with breaking through this upward trend, and now sitting above the 1629. So I think there's a few things to do. One would be to look for the next areas of resistance as we move up, since now we're above our highest price zone that we had charted. And then we'll sort of zoom into the day and take a look and see if there was additional support indications at that 1629 level. If not, we might get that in the coming days, but we'll have to see. It could, as sort of like Upstart has proven, for example, become a runaway train, which would be really exciting, but we're certainly not there yet. We've had a couple of good days, so I don't want to lead to the hyperbole that I'm sure is being really expounded out there. The next big level up to me would be right around here at this 1699, and then pretty obviously I would say at this 1754. So those are the two that I'm going to look for after we get. Now it's already tried to stretch up to that 1699, but what I see here is previous resistance that flipped to support, and then previous support that flipped to resistance. And then at that 1754, we have support here, we have resistance here, and we have resistance here. So it'll be interesting to see if that selling pressure that we saw here and here at 1754 has been exhausted as well, or if that's going to stick around. And these stretch back pretty solidly, right? Resistance that flipped to support. So these are pretty solid. Now, we might get through that 1699 relatively quickly, who knows? But if we get through 1699 and then 1754, then we'll just continue to plot upward, and then can start to delete some of these lower support zones that we've had sitting there for a while, but haven't needed really since back in these days, which was really only a couple weeks ago. So very, very interesting day today. Now, order flow has failed to load, I guess, but huge, large scale inflow today, and interestingly enough, there was just absolutely no outflow. So no one coming in and saying like, okay, let me cash these chips out. This has been a nice little run. I'm gonna take my, who knows, 8, 10, 12%. I don't know when they would have come in, and just sort of jet out of here. Just a bunch of buys coming in. So really fantastic to see. I didn't see if there was anything interesting on the news side of things. 50% more upside, so that brings us to what, 20, 24, 25, something like that. What's old Benzinga say today? After Jeffries, analysts, initiated coverage, buy rating announced, $25, So that's what we're talking about, and we've seen a series of these analysts coming in and helping to boost the price lately by putting out price targets that are well off of its current price point. So really great day on SoFi. And if we take a look at the data side of things really quickly, so now if we hop in here, the old Vortex machine, 5 buys, 1 hold. I don't know if they've updated with the most recent one. Oh, maybe they have. Yeah, today, John Heck. Okay, I think that's what they were saying. So return potential still over 55% per the analyst price targets, the consensus price target. So really big upside there. And then on the short interest side of things that we've been keeping track of, we saw yesterday it go up over 100% on the daily estimated change. Today, just over 5%. So shorts kind of shying away, staying away, maybe some of them closing up shop and some reopening positions at a higher price point, which is, their way of sort of averaging down or re-entering on a dip for shorts, which is an extension point for longs. And so I have to see if that continues to creep at all or not. Big creep yesterday, small creep today, but it is interesting to see maybe that they're sort of a little bit reluctant to come in, being uncertain of exactly what's going to happen with this, being that analysts continue to come out with really positive articles and price targets and viewpoints, and then that's obviously influencing institutions and retail to come in pretty strongly. So we've seen that the last couple of times now, and we might not get a bunch more of those exact catalysts, but as we know, we're waiting on the bank charter confirmation. Hopefully that's coming soon. Hopefully this continues to be a really good sign that these folks are updating their LinkedIn profiles to say that they are president of SoFi Bank Information, that this person is SoFi treasurer currently and SoFi Bank CFO, which is Information, and that this person is president of SoFi Bank Information, currently vice president corporate strategy at SoFi. So really exciting to see those. I did search to see if there were others today, and I didn't see any new ones, but I am taking this as potentially a really good sign. Just take like the other end of that spectrum is I also don't know anything about how these things roll out. I haven't been part of a fintech company that's tried to get a bank charter, and I don't know how much putting these people in place is actually could be reasonably construed as confirmation that it's likely that that bank charter will be granted. I would think so logically, but there could be nuances that I'm just unclear on that would make that not be the case. So as we mentioned, after hours now has flattened out. Could bump back up, but we'll have to wait and see. But it doesn't look like it's going to continue to run really extensively in either direction after hours, but we have a couple hours to go, so that could change, of course. All right, folks, well, I hope you had a great day. I hope that your cost basis on your SoFi shares that you've been sitting on potentially for a very long time, that it's looking a little bit better at this point. And, I hope that we continue to see the upside here, but even if we don't and we have a pullback for whatever reason, what have you, we'll obviously be here to look at it. I'm realizing now that speaking of pullback, we forgot to see if it came in to test that 1629 today, which it did not, but it had this phenomenal double bottoming out at the VWAP, which we saw in yesterday's video as well, I think. And so, it wouldn't be shocking to me if it comes down to try to test that 1629. It also wouldn't be shocking to me if it continues to fly. And I know that that's really me just consuming all of the possibilities, but I would expect how about this? If it comes down to 1629, I would expect it to hold that. It would be really unfortunate to see it come back down into the 15s and need to find support there. I would expect that 1629 to hold after what we've seen the last several days. So I would think holding at 1629 or continuing to drive up the price really, really solidly and consistently. Those would be my guesses, but that's crystal ball territory. So just keep that in mind. All right, folks. Well, I, of course, appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.